broadcast, and they love Roger Homefield. And one of the things that they always tell me, and I always have an answer for them. They always tell me, they're like, we watch Homefield on Skype, and I know I'm not going to be able to get this line delivered because it's hilarious, and I know his reaction's going to be hilarious, but we're gonna power through it. I'm not gonna be like an old '90s Saturday Night Live skit where I laugh all the way through the bit. But they always say we never see Roger Homefield wear a watch, and my feeling is always the reason he doesn't wear a watch is because he's the one that tells you what time it is. So we are gonna go Roger Homefield, the only guy in the history of the business who is so damn lucky that he can get Chick-fil-A on Sundays. The fantastic Roger Homefield. And Roger, there is a lot going on. One of the things that I want to start with this weird thing that I was working out at the YMCA, and I always love going to my local YMCA because it is full of, and I shouldn't say crazy because I have some of the views line up with these folks, but wow, crazy conservatives. We're talking like QAnon conservatives. We're and one of the things they have on all the time on the locker room TV is Newsmax. And Newsmax was covering this Jewish rally the other day. This thing was like 4 hours. What in the world did you think about all this?
I thought it was terrific, but it's sorry that it took so long.
Yeah.
So the Jewish organizations and rabbis have not been organizing for the last 15, 20 years. They acted like this just snuck up on them or something. And we talked about how the universities have been brewing this for quite a while. So I thought, it was a terrific showing. It took too long for it to happen, but they have to continue to happen because if there is no pushback, then the other side, their rallies will just grow because these kids are believing such nonsense and crap. Oh, they go, Israel genocide. What? They don't even know what genocide means. If there's going to be genocide, folks, it would only be if Israel laid down her weapons. Then they would be wiped out, every man, woman, and child, goat, dog, cat, okay? That's your genocide. But they say just the opposite. The people that would commit the genocide say, the genocide. So it's just, it's outrageous. So unfortunately, people are so gullible and they will believe numbers. So if they see a lot of posts or a lot of that, they'll run with whoever is popular because, there's peer pressure and everybody wants to be doing the hip thing. And because they're ignorant, because their heads are like empty-headed because of the stinking public education system that we've had for the last 15 years, teaching them absolutely nothing except how to screw up this country, they don't know the difference now. So when they're told, Israel this, Israel that, they're stupid enough to believe it. And the more numbers they have, then the more to some people, big numbers means credibility. And of course, that's not the case, but that's how a lot of people think. So yeah, it was good that it happened. Is that going to be it? Because they're going to need to keep doing this as long as the Palestinian people that are over here are doing it.
We have got the fantastic Roger Homefield. He's with us today here on our broadcast. And I love Roger Homefield. And apparently Robert Davi loves Roger Homefield, which I did not. That was quite the unexpected, I guess you would say, ray of sunshine the other day when we interviewed Robert Davi, because I was told by his lovely press person, Adrian, she's like, he only has 15 minutes, just do 15 minutes and be done. And at the end of it, I'm like, ironically, we only have 15 minutes left in the broadcast because we talked to him for 45. And what I thought was interesting was him being like a huge fan of you and wanting to talk to you more. And then, he invited you to the show and all this. And I'm just like, where in the world What planet am I living on that this is taking place? I think it's awesome.
Well, entertainers like him do cross paths with musicians
Yeah.
quite often. I mean, musicians are the ones that back up the shows. Now, I had my own act for a while, but nonetheless, what I did many years of was backing up different acts, Sammy Davis or this or that, playing in the orchestra.
Yeah.
And so he probably doesn't get to see a whole lot of those folks now. You know, that there isn't as much of that. You know, an act would pull into town, there'd be a whole big band. You know, they bring a local rhythm section and hire all local brass. So I think maybe he just hasn't spoken to some. He probably misses that. He probably hasn't had much interaction with those kind of musicians anymore. Not as much, anyway.
Well, I just thought that was tremendous. We have got the fantastic Roger Homnefield with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. So Christopher Wray and all these folks, what in the world is going on here? Jihad, there's all sorts of things happening.
Well, about a week ago, week and a half ago, both of them now, Mayorkas and Christopher Wray, warned us that we may have some lone wolf attacks in America now. Nothing pisses me off more than to hear this crap, because lone wolf is nothing more than a cover-up for jihad. It does nothing more than cover up for the Islamists. Oh, it's not them. It's not jihad. It's just a lone wolf. How can you be a lone wolf if you're a jihadist and there are tens and tens of millions just like you? That's a pretty big group. As a matter of fact, I would go as far as to say that the largest supremacy group in the world is Islam. Doesn't come from me. It comes from them. Nobody wants to listen to what they say or read what they say or believe what they say. And to me, the Muslim, to me, they're white. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm too old to filter, black, brown, the different shades. What the heck's going on here? To me, the Arabs are always white. So I think it's fair to say, yeah, with the largest problem we have today is the white supremacy group. But it's not you and me. It's the jihadists. And if people don't understand why I'm saying this, they need to understand. Look, there are lots of good Muslims, lots of wonderful people that just want to raise their families and don't want to get caught up in all this stuff, okay? But if you adhere to Islam, particularly if you are what's called Sharia compliant, meaning you follow Sharia law, this is a whole different ballgame, because that dictates that you must spread Sharia law in the United States, replace the Constitution. They cannot be loyal to the United States and the U.S. Constitution if they are Sharia compliant. And it behooves them, and they're told that every single Muslim has to participate in jihad. Not all jihad has to be with a sword. It can be with the pen. So you take Ilhan Omar or Tlaib. These are cultural jihadists. And the job of a jihadist is to spread Sharia law. It doesn't matter if they spread it with the sword or the pen. But the idea is that they spread Sharia law until it covers the entire freaking earth. And this is no joke. This is no joke. We had this on the show 12 years ago, Jiggy, and, Islamophobe, bigot, what a bunch of crap. The very people that were trying to warn their fellow Americans and save this country because we love this country, we had to eat all kinds of crap from all the press and just about everybody that knew nothing about this stuff. And they need to understand that in Islam and in Sharia law, they are not friends of any other religion. They need to do away with them all. The only reason it's the big deal with the Jews now, well, there's a saying, the Jews on Saturday, when they get rid of them, then they'll come from the Christians on Sunday. And then after the Christians, well, then you've got every other religion in the world. There's not one religion that they are coexistent with, because their own doctrines make them supreme, and not just supreme, but they want to be the supreme and the only ones. And that's the reality of it. Now, do all of them really, this is crazy, they're going to take over the whole world? Well, everybody said that was really crazy 12 years ago when you had the show. It looks a little less crazy today when you see what a small percentage of Muslims in this country, the havoc that they're creating, the hostile ones that are creating, with these demonstrations. And they have a whole plan laid out. It's called the Grand Jihad. It was written by the Muslim Brotherhood. The Grand Jihad was the formula on taking over North America and spreading Sharia law to all of North America. We found their playbook. Nobody would believe it. Oh, they just blew it off. The Muslim Brotherhood, the same Muslim Brotherhood that was single-handedly resuscitated by Obama in Egypt. They were done. They were done.
Yep.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I stand by this. Obama single-handedly resuscitated the Muslim Brotherhood, and he was the only person in the entire world that could have done that. So thanks again, Mr. Obama. And of course, he had the Muslim Brotherhood, all these people at the White House for God knows how many dinners. Okay? Now, he finally came out with who he really was with what he said about Israel and Hamas, where he equated the two, basically. He finally showed who he really is. All those years of him telling us, this is not who we are. This isn't who we are. Never mind who we are. Who the hell are you? Because he lied about
a lot of people have been trying to figure that out for 10 years. The entire
time. He acted like he was a moderate. He was pro-Israel. He was for civil unions. So the guy's a complete fraud. But so it was a shock with what he came out and said. And at the same time, it wasn't so shocking. Anyway, we could go on for hours and hours and hours about this. But the problem, Jiggy, is that people don't know anything about it. And 9/11 was, 22 years ago? And nobody knows even what hit us. And it was hidden from them from the very beginning. When George Bush, who I liked very much at the time, to be honest with you, but when he walked arm in arm with the imams and said, look, everything is fine. It's just these few people that hijacked and perverted Islam.
Yep.
Folks,
yep.
That's crap. A complete lie. They did not hijack Islam. They did not pervert Islam. They followed it to the T, the way a good jihadist would. Now, does that mean that the average Muslim on Main Street is going to, run around and say, okay, I've got to go? No, of course not. But when you consider, how many Muslims are there in the world? 1.5 billion? Is it something, a very, very high number? So it doesn't take a great percentage of 1 billion people to have a whole hell of a lot of terrorists. And 9/11, we only had 19 of them. So what pisses me off about this lone wolf thing is this, Jiggy. The nerve of them to say that they're going to warn us now we may have some lone wolf attacks. Yes, thanks to you for bringing in millions and millions of unvetted Muslims. Were they ever asked, are they Sharia compliant? Do they follow Sharia law? Can they follow the United States Constitution, or are they diametrically opposed? Because if they're Sharia compliant, they can't be here. There is no coexistence. And every time they use the word lone wolf, Obama never wanted to admit that the war on terror was still going on. He would call it man-made disasters and workplace violence, all this nonsense crap. And lone wolf is yet another one. Lone wolf is another way to cover up. It's not lone. It's jihad, stupid. It's jihad. I don't care if it's one person that does it. If he's a jihadist, he's working, he's carrying on for all of his fellow jihadists. He's not a party of one. He's one of millions, tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions. So to call the lone wolf is just to cover their own ass for letting all these people over the border.
We have got a fired up Roger Homnefield with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. We're going to go to Larry Tracy here in just a few. However, we are finishing up here with the fantastic Roger Homnefield. So Obama, Biden, and the third term of Obama, Biden, it seems. What is going on with this whole thing with, the other day where they had the Chinese guy show up here, Xi Jinping, and Gavin Newsom and Biden rounded up all the homeless, cleaned up all the homeless camps. And then at one point, I seen a thing this morning that apparently Freudian slip, Biden leaned over to Xi Jinping when he was here, and he said, hey, Newsom's going to be the next president.
Well, I read some stuff about that, and Biden actually made mention what a great governor he is, and that he would be good at it. So that certainly sounds like it could be a prelude to a change. But here's something folks really got to understand, and this is one reason why I wish that we hadn't focused so much on Biden. It's not just Biden. If he goes, it's going to be the same crap. Newsom's going to do the same thing. It's the party's ideology. So we invested all this criticism on Biden when it should have really been criticism on the whole party line and their entire ideology. Because replacing Biden, say, oh, here's a new guy, he's not Biden, this guy's okay to vote. No, he'll be just as bad as Biden, just like Kamala Harris would be, or any of these other clowns. Schumer, let's take this guy. I know you didn't bring this up, but I just got to pop this out there. The big Jewish rally the other day, 300,000.
Yep.
No violence. 300,000. And Schumer was there, giving a big rabble-rousing speech, pandering to the crowd, apparently, because 4 hours later, he voted against, I believe, a $14 billion aid package for Israel. Not one Democrat voted for it. Not one Democrat. None of the Jewish Democrats, none of the non-Jewish Democrats, none of the Democrats voted for this aid to Israel just 4 hours after being at the Jewish rally, kissing the butts of the crowd. So we're really dealing with some real bad people. This is why term limits just screams out at you. But there's so much, Jiggy. If you and I sat down and had a beer summit, we'd probably go on for a week.
That is awesome. It is Roger Homnefield. He's with us today here on our broadcast. So, Roger, before I let you go, how do people get your stuff and get involved with everything you're doing and all that?
Well, you can go to YouTube, I guess. I'm going to tell you something personal. I'll try to make it fast because you got to go on to the next guest. But I'm really struggling to get this jazz orchestra project of mine down. And I don't know anything about technology. And so from the cassette, I didn't record in the right sample rate and the right bit depth and all this crazy stuff I know nothing about. I've got to start the whole damn project all over again, but I can't wait to have it done. I really want to share it with everybody, even though it may not be their normal genre of music. But go to YouTube, and really the best way to see me is to tune into the Jiggy show.
That's awesome.
I'm not putting myself out there. I'm busy, and I'm doing a lot of things, but I'm with Jiggy all the time. And actually, when I come on the Jiggy show, I think it's as much for Jiggy to entertain me as it is for me to entertain his listeners.
Hey, I always enjoy talking to you. You are always one of my favorite people every single week, and you don't take yourself too seriously. You have a good time, so it all works. It all works.
Hope so.
Well, Roger, we are going to be off next week because of Thanksgiving. However, of course, the holidays, here we go. We got to ruin schedules. But I will see you the following Thursday. And I've got some stuff I'm going to email you about because there might be some interview things that I might want to run by you.
Okay.
I'm trying to set up some things. Maybe an interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know. But I will...
Nothing would surprise me. You can get anything.
So I will talk to you soon. Have yourself a good holiday. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thanks again, Jiggy. Thank you very much.
There he goes. So fantastic, Roger Homnefield. We love Roger Homnefield, and apparently the internet loves Roger Homnefield. We are going to do this. We are going to take a timeout, I guess we'll say. We got to get to Larry Tracy here in just a few moments. The fantastic Larry Tracy. The man about town, Larry Tracy, as they say. He will be with us here in just a few moments, but we do want to take a bit of a timeout. I am attempting to upload things to BitChute. This has been the bane of my existence. I do not understand why I cannot get certain things on BitChute. I don't know what is going on there. But we are going to do this. I'm going to figure it out. And we will get things figured out. Where is that? Okay, we're just gonna do this and take a break. Come back with more.
Welcome back to our big broadcast. We are live, coast